in between space and rib, vertebrae and bone, bricks and golden thread, something is lost in me. Taste copper in my mouth, blood from the words I bite down on, never spit, too afraid to swallow, listen for it gurgle in my chest, grow in my belly, change in my spirit, ashes from the things inside of me that die. Behind every agenda, every checklist, every to-do settled in my bones like dust. This is the kind of peace you don't write. You lay it down for others to dictate, to repeat your worth on their tongue, pushed into your mouth. My what ifs in the brownness of my skin, my body split in two. Imposter syndrome is one hell of a drug, and I find myself addicted. My advice to self is lost between what can happen and what needs to get done. Turns sweet, left too long, left to rot. Procrastination plays sick games, invites her cousins over, friends of envy and regret. Breaks everything around them, leaves nothing to be remembered, salvaged, redeemed. Where do I find my place, my space in between rib? Who hears the tree that falls in the woods? If no one is around, will you hear me? If I asked for help, if I wanted more than poems about wasted potential, about moving, about being, about more than procrastination without liberation.
This week's Jacket Pride is Barbie, the LHS therapy dog.
I think she's a huge impact on our school. I think that she helps boost morale. I think she just makes the culture here better and the environment here better for students. And then we have a lot of students that just enjoy spending time with her, and that, you know, I hear all the time, just when I'm walking through the halls and students see Barbie, I hear them say, I wouldn't even like school if it wasn't for Barbie being here. And so that just makes my heart happy, and that's what Barbie's all about, is just to get kids to like to be at school. My favorite Barbie story this year so far is she was in the library, and the door to the writing lab got left open, and she walked out the back door and nobody noticed. She went straight over to Miss Aaron's office, the nurse's office, and there was a student in there having a really hard time, and she went straight back to that student. She sensed that student was in distress and went straight to that student to help him. So I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Let's hear it for this week's Jacket Pride.
Choir has changed my life because it provides a warmful environment that helps me to get through the day, because I can look forward to getting into choir rather than wanting to be home all the time. And it helps me to stay focused and really grasp the moment of every day.
Choir has changed my life as a student because it makes me feel like I can be creative and I can just go in the choir room to escape and have a way to relieve my stress for the day and just relax with the people around me, because I know that we all enjoy what we do.
Choir has given me the confidence that I need to go through school the way I can. Whenever I was in 8th grade, it was when I first realized that I wanted to be in it, but I was too shy. I guess I really feel like choir is a big family, and we just do everything we can to make sure that everybody feels welcome and make sure that everybody has a voice in what they want to say. I guess it just gives me a confidence that I never really thought I had.
I say happy, you say Thursday. Happy. 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 Please inhale for me and exhale. Here's my question to you all. What is the problem? What is the problem? You see, we're separated by our skin color, but we're not separated by air, are we? I'm going to show you what segregation looked like, but this is not what it is. Can you all come close, teach? What is the color of her pants? What are the color of my gloves? What is her skin color? Y'all colorblind, aren't you? You just told me her pants were black and my gloves are white. You see, we're separated by skin color, but we're not separated by air. The teacher tastes real good to me right now. You see, they judged the book before they even read the index. That's what we do in culture right now. We'll look at somebody and determine you ain't good enough because of the way you look. But baby, you ain't even read my index. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me bring to the stage no other than the great Miss Ella Jane Fitzgerald. Please take note. Please take note that just because you see somebody and they look a little different than you, they're not. As Maya Angelou was saying, we're more alike, my friend, than we are unlike. But also take note that our heart is a beat every second. Again, I'm going to say that one more time. Our heartbeat is a second every day. For 2 hot seconds, can I just get you just to roar in this place and just roar? Give a round of applause. Roar. Yes!
Thank you guys. For those of you that don't know us, we are Dawson Hollow, and we've been doing music together for a very long time. I think 15 years that we've been doing music together. And we started as a family band, you know, mom and dad, and we started doing folk and bluegrass music. 5 or 6 years ago, we started really being exposed to all different kinds of music, and pop music, rock music, hip hop, Irish, all kinds of stuff. We just started transforming it and rearranging it and flipping it around, and you start creating your own sound, your own voice. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is create our own voice. So last November, we created a totally separate band, and that's Dawson Hollow. That's who we are today.
What made you guys choose the name Dawson Hollow?
It's a good question. So a lot of times bands just have a name that will mean random things. For us, the idea behind the name is charging forward into the future with confidence and wonder and excitement, but never forgetting where you came from, your roots. And Dawson is a small town right outside of Mountain Grove, Missouri. Like literally the sign for the town says Dawson, and then on 2 inches on the other side it says Dawson. So the joke is it's a 2-inch town. but it's this tiny, tiny town. We grew up down in this hollow, so we're like, let's not forget where it came from. So Dawson Hollow was the small town that we grew up in.
Yeah, I just love doing music. So you do it for yourself, for money, for the message, and just because you enjoy the music. And so I think each of us relate to those a little differently. I love doing music because I know it's what I'm supposed to do, and I love playing music. Yes, yes.
How many of y'all do like either music, art, painting, just anything artistic?
Some sort of self-expression.
Yeah. A lot of times when you're doing art, it puts you in a very, very vulnerable place. And a lot of times people won't get it. They'll be like, that's not that good, or that's honestly just pretty stupid. But it's self-expression. It's messy. And some of the best art that exists, it's discovered later. It's not like, oh, I just came out with this amazing song, painted this amazing picture, all of a sudden, boom, it's a success. It takes a long time for people to realize how genius it was. And so, and there is something weird about art. An artist, like anywhere from like Kanye West, Brad Paisley, Justin Bieber, they can tweet something and it has such an effect on our culture. But Donald Trump tweets every single day and kind of doesn't really affect like this generation. Artists have such an effect on people that it's such an emotional place for people because they have invested in their art, that artists have a great influence on so many people. And it takes a lot of work to just become known and to have influence on people. You're terrible, why are you even doing what you're doing? They were like, I love to do this. This is self-expression. This is art. I'm going to do what I love to do.
We've been calling it, we don't have an official name, we've just been calling it the Laclede County Sheriff's Office Kiwanis Drug-Free Program. The reason we included Kiwanis, obviously, is they're the ones that gave us the $2,500 donation to spearhead this, and so, you know, if it wasn't for them, then this wouldn't be possible. So our drug-free program that we've started in the school at Boswell, essentially a couple months ago, me and the Sheriff Dave Millsap, had a discussion in terms of what are the necessities in our community. One of the things that he heard on the campaign trail, something that I heard just going out in my role as a community resource deputy, was the drug issue in Laclede County. That's always the issue, you know, since I've been in school and the sheriff's been in school. I mean, dating back several decades, the question is, what are we going to do about the meth problem? What are we going to do about the drug problem? We do plan on branching outside of Lebanon R3. We're at Boswell Elementary 5th grade right now. Our plan is that this year we continue to do this and we get the results that we've seen. Then at that point, we're interested in branching out to Jolie Barber School District, the Gasconade School District, and Laclede County R1, Conway. And to make this not just a Lebanon City thing, but to have it outside the county as well. Well, why 5th grade? Why not junior high or high school? Because 5th graders haven't, you know, they're not, you know, not all. I mean, I guess you could say there could be a 5th grader or a couple 5th graders who are smoking and drinking alcohol. But a lot of the feedback I've heard is why not high school? Why not junior high when, you know, these types of drugs become an effect? And the answer to that is that it's startling, because what I've found in the United States and in Laclede County is that when it comes to tobacco usage, you know, they did a study, the Parents Against, or I'm trying to think, what was it? It might have been the Drug Advocacy Council. They did some study, and it was an American student's first introduction to tobacco. in terms of firsthand. So not just secondhand, not just watching mom or dad smoke, but the first time that a student smokes tobacco, smokes cigarettes, or chews tobacco. And what they found was that 6th grade is a common age for the introduction of tobacco.
This week's Jacket Pride is the Give Grace program.
A friend of mine a couple of years ago had come up with this really great idea. It was kind of born from she and I seeing a lot of students around the school that are very needy and being left out. So she said if all the teachers or all the public would donate their gently used buzzwear, we could have a place at each school for the students that are underprivileged to come and maybe shop for something that was school spirit wear. Depending on how many donations we get, we'd like to do more than one, but it's going to be kind of limited. If we only have so many donations, we'd like to give one to each kid that needs it. If there's more donations of items, then we would gladly give them more than one item. They can call me here at the high school, they can email me, any of those are great.
Let's hear it for this week's Jacket Pride.
How to cheat on a test.
First way, right on your arm. This is a classic way to cheat and you rarely get caught. The second way is to ninja roll up to the person in front of you, then look at his stats, then ninja roll back. Anybody can do this.
This week's Jacket Pride, Cub Scout Pack 2557.
We were looking for service projects for our Cub Pack. The whole point of scouting is to teach the boys to give back, and the only way to teach that is to really do it. So we were looking for different ways to do service projects for their community, and I had expressed to the schools that their community is their school systems, and to give back to their school buildings themselves.
Such a legacy, I'm sure, to know that people who are feeling lonely will come and be able to see his name here and make new friends. So we're so grateful for all your work.
Let's hear it for this week's Jacket Pride.
This week's Jacket Pride is the power of public schools.
Public schools, the best choice for all students.
Public schools have made me who I am.
They give power and potential by offering a wide variety of opportunities.
Public schools let students know that they're
Backstory.
Passions,
race, personality,
religion,
Emotions.
culture,
gender.
will not make you apart from the school.
Together, we have the power to make a change and the potential to be successful leaders of not just our school, but America. And we give our thanks to all public schools for helping us
Make the world have power and potential.
Let's hear it for this week's Jacket Pride.
This week's Jacket Pride is Teacher of the Year, Ashley Felton.
I'm proud to announce this year's Teacher of the Year is Miss Ashley Felton. Glad that you're here. We're glad that you are a role model for our students. You're a mentor. You are their friend. You are their instructor. You are their inspiration. And for that, I'm going to present to you our Teacher of the Year plaque to you.
I honestly don't really know what to say, but this is truly an honor because I work with, I think, the absolute most amazing teachers in anywhere, with, of course, the state of Missouri, but thank you. I really appreciate it.
This week's Jacket Pride is TJ Ritchell.
On average, each one took about 6 hours approximately. And total, they all took from mid-April to mid-June of this year, the year 2016. Concerning art, I think I'm gonna just keep that a hobby. But for career-wise, I might become an engineer because I want to follow the steps of my dad. And I want to make good enough money to support my family. Climax of my art progression happened during my 7th grade year. My art teacher, Mrs. Piercy, at Jolie Barber, really helped me to get the concept of drawing dark.
Hi, Mom. Can you hear me now? This is an instructional video. It shouldn't last very long, but we're going to talk about the piano today. Everybody say piano. Let's see. 3 syllables and 5 letters. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Consonant, vowel, vowel, consonant, vowel. Yeah, piano. Piano is in the string family. Everybody say string family. Very good, very good, very good. Let's look at the piano today. This is a piano. It's in the string family. It doesn't look like strings right now, but I promise you it is. The piano is acoustic in that there are no batteries, no plug-in. Just play it and then push down a key, it plays. Key up, it quits. Key down, it plays. Key down hard, it plays loudly. Key down easy, it plays quietly. If I can play 2 keys, I can play 3 keys, I can play 4 keys, I can play a whole bunch of keys. long as I hold them down, they play. There are 88 keys on a standard piano, 88 keys. Some of the keys are white, some of the keys are black. A long time ago, they made the white keys out of ivory. Ivory comes from elephant tusks. People used to shoot elephants, cut off their teeth, and carve up their teeth into pool balls, keys on pianos, and a whole lot of other stuff. But today, that's against the law because they're about to make elephants extinct. So if there's an elephant in your backyard, don't bother. Let's see, 88 keys. Let's see here. Let's go on this is the left side of the piano. Everybody say left side. Good. Everybody, that's good. Left side. The left side plays the low notes. That L sound in there. Left side plays the low notes. You start in the middle and play to the left side. La 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 la. Notes are getting lower. La, la, la. Low down, low notes. Conversely, whatever tennis shoes you're wearing. We start at the middle, and we go to the top, and the low notes are on the left side, the high notes are on the right side. I won't even pretend to sing that high and squeaky, but I promise you the high notes are on the right side. Let's see. Down at the bottom, the piano has 3 pedals. The pedal on the right is the sustaining pedal. What happens is, normally, I push down a key, and it plays a note. I let the key up, it quits. Key down, it plays. Key up, it quits. When I push the sustaining pedal down, the pedal on the right, it makes the notes last a long time. I don't have to keep the finger down. When I let the pedal up, it quits. Pedal down, the sustaining pedal sustains the notes till you let the pedal up. The pedal on the left also sustains, but it just sustains the lower portion of the keyboard. It does not do the upper part. I'm not sure exactly why, but that's what it does. The pedal on the left is the quiet pedal. Here's normal playing. When I push the quiet pedal, it makes it play quieter. Okay. Let's look at the piano just a little bit on the inside. This gold piece of metal is cast iron. It's called the soundboard. You can see here where they put the number of the piano that they made, the serial number. You can see on the inside, the piano company that made the piano, Baldwin, they're a very good piano company, made in the good old US of A. You see here on string family, piano, string family, 224 strings. 224 strings. How's that work? Well, I said 88 keys, right? Well, some of the keys are going to play more than one string. From here, let's see, from this E flat all the way to the top, all these keys play 3 strings apiece. What happens is the hammers are pushed by the keys. I push the key down, and the key operates the hammer. The hammer has felt on the end of it. The hammer hits the strings. It sounds like just one note, but 3 strings are tuned to exactly the same frequency. So this one hammer hits 3 strings, and they all 3 sound like one note. Again, all these from this E flat to the top, all those hammers hit 3 strings apiece. You can see the tuning pegs are here on the back on the soundboard. Each one of these strings gets tuned by the tuning pegs. You have to have a tuning hammer. It looks like a hammer, and you put it on the knob and you turn it and adjust the string with the tuning hammer. From here on down to several strings, each hammer hits 2 strings. These strings are wound by copper, and they're a little bit bigger, and they play a little bit lower since they're bigger, and they play a little bit louder. So over here, 3 strings, it takes 3 of the little strings to be as loud as these two bigger strings. Then down here at the bottom of the piano, The strings are great big honking strings. The bottom 8 or 10, and one hammer operates one key operates one hammer and hits one string. The strings are great big, and they play big and loud and low. The premise is the lower strings are bigger and louder. Okay? As they get smaller, they're not as loud, so it takes more strings to be as loud as the bigger strings to balance them out. Okay, let me show you one more thing. Underneath, you see where the pedals tie in. This sustaining pedal pushes the lever over there, and you can't see what goes on the inside, but it fixes it to where it sustains. The one that's fun to watch is the quiet pedal. The quiet pedal pushes this lever, and the dowel rod goes up, pushes this black wood piece, and pushes all the hammers closer to the strings. Since the hammers are close, so much closer to the strings, they're going to play quieter. That's fun to watch. Just some things to think about again. The piano is a stringed instrument. It's acoustic. There are no batteries, no plug-in. You just play it, like guitars or trumpets or that sort of thing. The piano is a very versatile instrument. It has 224 strings, 88 keys, all these inner workings. I tell the kids all the time that the inner workings of the piano are very delicate. They're like a bubble. You blow bubbles and they float around. When you touch them, they break. The inside of the piano is nothing to mess with unless you are a piano technician, somebody can fix them. So, that thus ends piano instruction for the day. We hope you've enjoyed our presentation and come back and shop with us again here at Kmart. Thank you.
Mrs. Britton is an amazing woman, an amazing teacher. She encouraged me to do my best and encouraged me to keep writing even though it was hard for me, and I don't think I would have taken honors classes for the last 3 years of my high school career. I don't think that I would have gotten to where I am without having her as a teacher.
I started in 1978, and I took out 8 full years to stay home with our children. And then I came back 2 part-time years, and so all of that together is 31 years. Started teaching English, 8th grade English, general business to 8th and 9th graders because the junior high at the time had 9th graders, and I also taught accounting at the high school, which had juniors and seniors that first year. And then my second 2 years, I taught 9th grade English and general business, and then after that, the librarian retired, and I thought that would be kind of neat to be a librarian, so I said, I'd like to be the librarian, and the principal said, great. So I've been the librarian. Well, grades are important, and you want kids to make good grades, but at the same time, you want them to be nice people, and you want them to feel like you like them. You don't want to make anybody feel stupid or silly or anything like that. So, yes, teach them stuff and be nice to them in the process, and hopefully they grow up to be productive citizens. I went to a really small school, high school. There were only 55 kids in the whole high school, so we didn't have all the electives and stuff, and the library was very small, so it's just a whole different setting than when I grew up. But I remember the teachers who were complimentary to me. You know, they appreciated the work I did, the grades I got, the projects that were good and all that. So I try to do the same thing and make kids feel like, you know, I appreciate their effort, and I like it when they do good work and when they try hard, even if it's not the greatest job. If they've tried hard, they've done the best they can, then hopefully they know that I'm proud of them.
Lexi Haley. I'm a commissioned artist and I'm a muralist as well, and I've done 4 to 5 murals within the school district, and most of the time people order something from me and I just customize whatever they need me to customize, or paint a portrait, or do whatever they want. The current mural that I just finished is the Yellow Jacket mural in the entrance to Boswell Gym. The purpose for the mural is to see the buzz outside at night when the lights are on it. You can see through the reflective glass. To complete this mural, it took me about 2 days, 2 Saturdays. My favorite part about doing the mural was actually getting it finished. My least favorite part about doing the mural is getting up on the scaffolding back and forth, back and forth. I'm planning to go to college to become an art educator or a self-sustaining artist, and I'm looking at Christian universities right now, but I'll of course pick some program that will benefit my future.
For The Hive with Kiera Phillips, I'm Brooklyn Miller.
A water balloon. All right, all you have to do is just drop it, and we'll see what happens. If you want to count to 3, that would be kind of cool. That will give everybody anticipation and action.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that was good. There we go, nice. Nice.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, fellow veterans, students. First, I would like to say that I am humbled to have been asked to speak to you today. Before this talk, I was asked if I would be wearing my dress blue uniform to today's ceremony. As you can see, I have decided not to. I had not considered doing so beforehand, but the question caused me to reflect on my reason why. The reason is that of all the things that I have from my time in the service, those things which are most valuable are the things that you would not see in a glance. Those things are inward. They make up who I am, and it's some of those things that I hope to be remembered by, more than anything I've worn. When many of you think of military service, the tendency is to think primarily of the physical demands that will be required. This is true especially before I joined, for me. How fast should I be able to run 3 miles? How many pull-ups should I be able to do? How many push-ups? And the answer, by the way, is always faster and more and more. But how many of you have considered what sort of moral preparation is required? How do you prepare to save a life when needed, or to take a life when needed? And I don't mean how do you physically prepare, but I mean spiritually or mentally. I can attest that the Marine Corps will teach you to stop the bleeding. They'll teach you to bandage wounds, to discern hostiles from friendlies, and to close with and destroy the enemy. But when the bleeding doesn't stop and enemies are indistinguishable from innocents, when chaos and confusion has surrounded you, how will you react? When everything external has collapsed, will there be anything internally to keep you upright and to keep you going? Now, the fact of the matter is, you don't need to be in the military for chaos and confusion to fall on top of you, as some of you may have already experienced in your lives. So this advice and these questions are really for you, those of you who haven't signed up already or may not be signing up for the military. And believe me, I don't say these things to try to depress you or to dishearten you. This is not what I want. For proof of this, please remember that it is easy to feel anxious in the face of danger. It's easy because it requires no training. It comes to us humans naturally. But being courageous in the face of danger is hard, and it does require serious training. And that is what I want from you. What I'm trying to convey is the intellectual truth that warfighters constantly have to face. It's that pain and suffering are inescapable. Therefore, the best relationship to have with pain is a close one that's on your terms. It may sound controversial for me as a teacher to say, embrace pain to my students. It may sound morbid. But in the most practical terms, not only is it just a bit of everyday wisdom, but also it's why we set aside a day to honor veterans, because it's their part to endure some suffering, some necessary suffering. The athletes among you know exactly what I'm talking about. Unless you put in time at practice, unless you leave everything out on the mat or on the court or on the field, every chance you get, then you are cheating yourself of your best performance, and you'll fall short of where you could be. And most likely, when you're slacking, your opponent is the one picking up the slack and putting in the time. The same is true in the classroom. Unless you use your time wisely in class and don't resort to your phone every time you feel bored, unless you take the time to revise that rough draft, unless you set aside what you want to do in order to finish what you should do, then not only will you fall short of where you truly could be, but you will have also set into concrete a host of bad habits that will be even more torturous for you to change later. Most likely at a time when you need to rely on a set of good habits most, like when children depend on you, or aging parents depend on you, or when a spouse needs your support. I know that you crave the freedom that awaits you after graduation. And I want you to understand that other people crave this freedom for you too. But they want you to have it so that you can make good use of it. One of the conditions of possessing freedom as a society or as an individual is that you have to use some of that freedom in order to pay for the rest of it. The veterans among us have sacrificed some of their freedom so that the rest may enjoy theirs. The same demand exists within each individual to devote some of your life to cultivating virtue and enduring the pain of personal growth. If you don't earn it, then like a society that doesn't safeguard its liberty, you will lose it, and those around you will be the poorer for it. If this sounds like a pep talk, it is. I still feel like a fire team leader taking aside the new Lance Corporals in my team and telling them to get their heads right. If this sounds like I'm scolding you or I'm yelling at you, I am. And maybe I'm your conscience who won't let you forget your responsibilities. If you're a fire breather and embrace the pain sounds like just another Thursday afternoon to you, you might consider joining my beloved Marine Corps. Tomorrow is, after all, the 242nd birthday of the Marine Corps, and you'll have a day off. So just for your consideration. But the other thing I want to say before I'm done, is to thank my dad, who is here on stage with me. If you're a student of mine, you know that I'm prone to giving life lessons, little bits of wisdom that are meant to help you along the way in life, or in your everyday. I do this because we are on the same team, and your success is my success. But I also do this because throughout my whole life, my dad has been by my side. in 1,000 small yet profound ways, saving up to send me to wrestling camps, being at my meet and at my practices, being a home base that I could rely on while I was deployed overseas, telling me when I thought I was doing wrong, when he thought I was doing wrong, and praising me when he thought I was doing right. In all these ways, my dad has shown me the meaning of sacrifice. And though he is a veteran of both the Navy and the Army, the sacrifice of his that I appreciate most was being a good and faithful father to me. So if there are veterans in your life who've made sacrifices that you admire, beyond shaking their hand or thanking them, I ask you to do one thing: imitate them. Thank you very much.
A young lady at that, right, who graduated from Lebanon High School in 1941. She went on, after she graduated, to serve in the Navy. Would you like to tell us just very briefly what your name is and what you did in the Navy?
My name is Marjorie Huff. I was an Ackling, Marjorie Ackling, when I was in the service. I loved the service. I felt honored to be a part of it.
Thank you very much. She's sitting next to a gentleman, who also was in the Navy, and he is a 1946 graduate of Lebanon High School. Would you like to tell us your name and what you did in the service?
My name is Kenneth Henry, and I was in the Medical Corps in the Navy. And 6 months after I was in the Navy, they transferred me to the Marine Corps because they don't have a medical corps. And so I spent 24 months with the Marines overseas in the Pacific. Yet are unashamed of tears, finding in their love of freedom power stronger than their fears. To sing a song for unsung heroes, sing from sea to shining sea, as the faithful sang before you, sing the song of liberty.
Facts with your teachers! Yay! Can you guess who this teacher is? If you guess Mr. Redmond, you are correct.
Hey, I'm Shelby, and welcome back to Facts with Your Teachers. I'm here with the one and only Mr. Redmond. Mr. Redmond, is there any interesting facts you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, I saw Bigfoot once.
Really? How'd you see him?
Well, I saw him while I was fishing. I was in Canada, and he just walked by one day.
That's really cool. Is there anything else you'd want to tell us?
Yeah, when I was in 4th grade, I won an art contest, and the winner of the contest got their picture in to hang in Tours, France.
That's so cool. Were you the winner?
Of course I was the winner.
Well, congratulations, and thank you for tuning in with Facts with Your Teachers. See you later. Signing off for the Hive with Madison Tietze and Emily German. I'm Shelby Rothwell. See you later.